Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Welcome to my stream and another chapter. I believe it's chapter 4. Is it 4? Yeah, chapter 4. Working on this guy here. That's our M2A3 Bradley by Meng. We're gonna run the intro. We'll get going. Okay, so we're back, guys, and we're going to continue on the build. We're working on our interior, or at least that's what we finished off with last time. Getting our interior stuff put in, and getting the seats done, and all this stuff. So we've got basically the starting, I don't know how far along, how much more there is in the interior, but we're getting there, So I left off with having to do the rest of the seats. What I decided to do was actually just assemble the parts of the seats on the sprue. Let me change the camera and I'll show you exactly what I did here. I took the little bottom brackets and I put them on the bottom of the seat cushion while it's on the sprue there. If my camera will focus, there we go. So you can see those, and that was a lot easier to put them on there while it's sitting on the sprue. Because you just laid the sprue down and it stays put. And when I was trying to do it on this one, the seat cushion wanted to move around on my table or whatever, and it's hard to line up. It was a lot easier just to line these up because it's actually got some weight to it and sit in one spot. And then of course it was easier to put the seat back on while it was on the sprue also. So my seats are done. I got the second one here, the two-seater is on the end sprue. So that's it. So I'm going to just let them sit for a little while and let the glue dry. And now we have our seats. Although we don't have the instructions is not telling us to actually install them quite yet. So it's just a simple matter of assembly for this step, and that's it. Okay, now don't forget, you still have to clean up your nubs after you're done. You're still going to clean these up, otherwise it's going to look really silly when you put it in there. So let's do that, and that's that. So that's the two-seater, and then we get our triple seat here. Nubs are on the front of the cushion on this one. So get those cleaned up. And that's it. The back, you got to clean these up to make sure that when you go to put this against the wall, that she's going to fit nicely. So you got to clean the nubs up on this too. So where these are going to go eventually is along the sides of the walls here. This guy goes here, so we line up our little notch with this, and it's going to go in right here. This guy goes in on this side over here, kind of like that, and then our single seat is going to go right here. So I mean, technically, let's just make my life a little easier here. This. How did I have this? Oh yeah, I had this in the air last time, didn't I? Yeah, like that. Because when this sits there, it sits up a little high. They do just kind of dangle in the air. It doesn't want to sit right now. There. They do kind of dangle in the air a little bit. They don't sit right on the floor. And that's where the glue helps. It's going to sit like that. It's going to sit like that when it's time to glue them in, okay? But we're not doing these today because the next step in the instructions, let me get rid of my green sprues here, get these out of my way, because the next step involves the next step, see, we did these last time. Step 10, that's all done. Step 11 is all done. Step 12, now we're working on, step 12 is going to be the radiator. Step 13 is our engine assembly, which means this kind of gets put aside for now. Alrighty. So I'm going to just leave my seats in the hull there, just for the sake of keeping them safe. And as we get ready to start this, so we're going to need our L tree and our K tree, L and K, and these are probably going to be that dark gray sprues. Here's L, and I was right, and I bet K is the other dark one. Yes, it is. Okay, so here we go. Bing and bang. Bing, bang, and bong. That's right. All right, so starting with L. L, 2, 3, and 9. These guys here. This looks like our exhaust. Our muffler. 2, 3. And number 9 is over here. Looks like the actual exhaust pipe. Okay. So it is unfortunate. It's kind of, I don't know. For me personally, it kind of defeats the purpose having the plastic molded in the different colors, because we wind up having to paint it anyway. You take the plastic off the sprue, and for example, this dark colored plastic, now I have to remove this little nub that's right on the tip of that exhaust pipe. Okay, I have to take that off, and when I nip that off like this, it leaves it white. Why? Because it's, in snipping it off, it's stressed the plastic. And if I'm not going to paint that, it's going to look really dumb. So guess what? Thank you for molding it in dark gray as some kind of attempt to make it so that I don't have to paint it. But in making it dark gray, when you take it off the sprue, it stresses the plastic and makes it white, and you wind up having to paint it anyway. So kind of defeats the purpose. So we put this with the pipe facing up and our little bracket part with the other pipe facing down. I got a lot of extra nubs that I have to clean off on this before we can put them together. So this goes in this orientation. Like so. Okay, where's my glue? Glue along the seam. Okay, and now our other little pipe that needs to go on here, he's going to go in, they want him going in right here in this little spot right there. So we're going to put a little drop of glue into that little hole and see if he'll stay. Now I can only assume that's the proper angle because that's what it looks like in the instructions. So I don't know if that's correct, I'm gonna hope so. So we'll find out soon enough, I guess. Now we've got a couple of end caps, K32 and K8. K8, it's K, you say it fast, you get Kate. 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. 8. 8 has a pipe on it also. So let's be careful getting that off of there. There's K8. And then what was it? 32. This little guy right here. Whoa. That was a close one. I don't want to have to clean up. I don't want to have to stop my build in order to clean up spilt coffee. Which is why I usually put my coffee on another table. And then it goes cold on me. Let's clean up our little pipe here. Now, whoa. Once this is all done, I want to try and utilize some of the techniques that I've learned from watching Night Shift, Uncle Night Shift. Try and mimic his techniques for doing exhaust, because his exhausts, in my opinion, they look very realistic. Okay, so this has to go in a particular orientation, and the pipe has to come up over the top like this, so that both your pipes are facing the same direction like that. Okay. In fact, it's got a little nub that kind of sticks out this side. That should line up with this bottom pipe here. Okay. So there's that. And that is done. So our little exhaust here, that's done. Okay. So the next one here, we got to grab our L tree. Looks like everything off our L. Everything off the L. So L, 10, 16, 17, and 19. Here's 19, great big rectangle. 16 and 17 are here. That's 16. This is 17. And then I need number 10. This guy right here. Number 10. Okay. This was 16. He's cleaned up. I was looking at my channel analytics. And some of the information that YouTube gives you in your analytics is it's interesting. Not only does it tell you like where your audience is, like which country they're from, mostly, but it gives you like the age groups that they're in, and also even it gives you their genders. And I got something like 0.08% of my viewers are women. It's really, I don't don't know, it's a little disappointing. It's like, oh, it's too bad I don't appeal to more women. Okay, so trying to figure out how this is supposed to go on, because these holes are not centered. It looks like the holes are going up in that particular orientation, like this. That's what it looks like. So that's what we're going to try. That's what we're hoping for. They don't show it in the next diagram below, on which they don't show it on the front, so I don't know. I guess I'm going to find out once it's way too late to change it. That's how I'm putting it. Okay? So whether that's correct or not, I don't know. So 17 is going to go on this side. This is one of those things where it's like, why did you make me put this on? And what we need to do is, you see there's a little bit of a channel that it's supposed to go in right here, and then all the way across, and the channel's not on this side. So we're going to line it up so that it's going to fit in. It's going to fit in right in there like this and be lined up like that. Okay? So that's what we're going to do. Okay, so 17 is in, just like that. And now we're going to do the same with 16. Alright, so there's our little, they call it the radiator assembly. Okay, like that. Okay, just like that. And that's that. So that's done. And I could paint it now if I wanted to, but I don't want to. I want to start working on the engine. I've never built a tank engine before, so I'm curious how this is going to look. Still off of our L sprue. Whole bunch of parts. We obviously need our engine block. It's funny how they showed this, but it's you moving over and doing this next. So you start off here. So let's get our engine block. It's kind of strange how we're supposed to do this. I don't know. Let's I know I need my engine block here. So what they've done is they've given me an engine block and cylinder heads, and with all in one go. But that's not what we need. We do need something off of our K tree. This is I'm confused. Let's grab L18. L18 is this. It's a weird. Okay, L20 and 21. L20 and 21 looks like the top of the cylinder block. I don't know. Maybe these are the top of the cylinder heads. This is 21. And I want 13 and 14. These two here. This is 13. And then 14 here. Let's start off with these. Okay, this is 14. $13. This is 12. 20. And 21. So it's not exactly going together the same. You know, I've built enough car models to, usually I can recognize what the different parts are and what they're for. But this one's a little different. Because normally when you're doing a car model kit, your block and heads are not together as one piece. And this kind of, and of course you get full block, and you don't have that with this. So they have this actually upside down in the picture, and that's why I wasn't recognizing it. I wasn't recognizing it because they have it upside down in the picture, like this. And so we're going to take 20, and 20 is going to go in here, like that. So we're forming the bottom of the bottom skirt, I guess you could say, of our engine block. Let's put that in there and glue on there. Okay. So there's that side, and then we'll switch over to this side. Put this in there. Another interesting thing is the color. I went through the whole book and figured out all the different colors that I need for this kit. And I actually wound up having to go run down to the hobby store to buy a few because I didn't have them. So L13 now goes onto this little nub here. Oops. Goes onto this little block like this. I guess it's just a matter of making it straight up and down and guessing your angles. It's a little unfortunate that they're making me guess my angles. There's no notch or anything to guide me in my little endeavor. So all I can do is hope I get it right. Just try and make it straight. There's a little line on the back of it to keep it lifted off of the block a little bit, but that's it. But it's not a guide on the angle you're supposed to have it at. So I'm really just kind of guessing and hoping, trying to eyeball it and make them perpendicular or parallel to each other so that they're straight. And it's really just a guess. I'm really just guessing that they're straight and that's where they need to be. So that's that. And see, they show this already on top, so let's go over to this step. So okay, so we've got arrows that are kind of telling us we're supposed to go like this with our diagram, our instructions. Step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now we're going to do this part of the block. No, it's this part of the block. L6, 7, that looks like a starter motor, and an oil pan. L22 looks like maybe a bell housing. There's 22. Where's our oil pan? Right here. Here's our big honking oil pan. And then we want 6 and 7. I'm going to hold on. There we go. Okay, so this is number 6 and this is number 7, and then K27 looks like our starter motor. That's a big honking starter motor. Wow. Is there a nub I need to be careful of? No, it doesn't look like it. That is, mind you, I'm used to 1/25th scale or 1/24 scale, which should be bigger, but this is a 1/35th, and look at the size of this starter. You know, I work in the parts department at my job, and I'm glad I don't deal with diesel starters. Holy crap. That thing's got to be huge. And just imagine the real life starter being like this friggin' long. So long it's off camera. So long. Anyway. Just cleaning these up and making sure everything's gonna fit when I go to put them together. So one thing that's always sucks is, you know, again, I'm about to go off on about Tamiya again, and you get accustomed to everything fitting great with the Tamiya kit. You get a little bit spoiled by Tamiya. You pick up another brand kit of something, and you're going away at it, and you assume everything's going to fit perfectly because it happens all the time with your Tamiyas, and then all of a sudden it doesn't. Okay, so let's start with our oil pan going in this direction, right in here. It looks like it's just supposed to drop in. Yeah, it kind of drops in, just like that, in between our panels. So that's kind of nice. And of course it fits great, so that's really nice. There's no gaps. I don't need no putty to fill it up. So that's nice. Oil pan drops in nicely. And we've got our sides. So this is number 6. And it's got all these little notches. See those little notches on the one side? Okay, on the top side there, all those notches. Those guys are going to be facing, with your oil pan facing up, the notches are facing up. Okay, so keep that in mind. Yeah, we've got tiny little things sticking out here that if you got it on upside down, they're not going to fit. So, and that does fit in nice also. So thank you very much. That fits nice. I'm happy with that. So we get our block sides complete. Or at this point is at the cylinder head. I do not know. I do not know. But we've got a completed block now. See, our block is complete. Okay. And now, going to the back side here, our big plug for our starter or our bell housing, it's going to go in the back there like this. It should fit flush, and our starter is going to go on the end there with the solenoid facing out to the side. I'm going to put the starter on the bell housing first, right there, like this, just because it's a little bit easier. And I'll just give that a minute to kind of do its thing. I'll just hold it for a second, have a sip of coffee. because why am I rushing? There's really no reason to rush. There we go. Okay. Now, put a little glue around our stub and push it into place. And I'll just add a little bit more here. Hold that for a second. So the enormity of that starter. Imagine this is probably a pretty big engine in this thing. And that starter on there is freaking huge. That's just wow. Okay, so now we need L1. L1. L number 1. Da, 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 right here. L1. Doink. You know, some kits you build and it actually tells you what the name of each part is, like the real life part. I love those kits that do that. I absolutely do. The kits that tell you this is the water pump, this is the alternator, this is the generator, this is the whatever. It's just, yeah, I really love those. So this guy's got to go. I'm getting ahead of myself. I jumped ahead. Let's put this down. I need these two parts, K10 and L24. L24. I do not know what this part is. Almost looks like a battery, but it's not. I know this is not a battery. Batteries don't get attached to the sides of the block. This might be a fuel block, like a distribution block, maybe. It's possible. It looks maybe like a fuel line going in there and coming out here. I don't know. I don't know what this is. I do know it's supposed to go into this slot here. And so they want it going in this direction. If I can hold on to it, they want it going in right there. It's a little bit of a tight fit, so it almost holds by itself. Yeah, it almost looks like it would be maybe a fuel distribution block. I don't know. I'm really guessing. I don't know diesel engines that much. Okay, so we need K10. K10, that's 12, 13, 10, this guy here. This big crank looks like a big crank. Okay, so this guy has got a big notch on the one side, and they want this thing going in right here, like that, onto that big square tab. With the longer end facing that direction. Now it is kind of interfering with this one piece here, so I don't know. It looks weird because it's not straight. See that? It's not straight because it's hitting that this front piece here, right? So I don't know if that's going to be a problem or not. I'm tempted to trim this down. Just looking at the orientation, Yeah. What I'm going to do is, because we're supposed to put an exhaust manifold on here, L5, let's grab that before the glue is fully cured. So that's part of the exhaust pipe. L5 is supposed to go and connect to that side. It's one exhaust manifold. Let's just make sure that it matches up with it. L5. All of our ports are supposed to line up, and that's supposed to go into here. It's not. Yeah. Let's kind of force it into submission here. And also with this, it's in the way. My exhaust doesn't want to line up because of this tab thing. So I'm literally pushing it up out of the way. Get that lined up. There we go. Let's put some glue on our ports. And glue in here. Okay. So I've had to wind up kind of pushing that first plate out of the way a little bit in order to get my exhausts, all the ports to line up. I actually want to go ahead and get this other side put on before these other pieces, because I want to make sure this is lined up and with this before I really get in. So I'm going to jump ahead. I'm going to flip the page over and see, hoping the next step is going to get us the other exhaust, but it doesn't. At what point did we put the other exhaust on? When do we put the other exhaust pipe on? I don't even see it in here. I don't even see it. Of course, there's so many steps to this build, and I don't see it. So, I don't think I missed it, because they show it already installed here. They show it already installed right there. It's right there, right above my finger. It's already installed, and yet they don't have it here or here or here. And yet they show it here, they show it here. They're both installed. So that is not correct. So I'm going to put it on. They don't show you actually putting these on, and that's an oops. Well, maybe, is it an oops? I don't know if it's an oops. Maybe they don't want you putting it on. Maybe they assume. Yeah, they show opposite side. L5 opposite side, L4 opposite side. So they're not going to actually show you, they're just going to tell you. And hope that you're not dumb like me and you know what you're doing. Similar fashion, this doesn't really line up, so I gotta push it so that it will. Really don't know what to do with this thing. I do know what I'm going to do with this thing. Bye for now. So that this can come down flat and flush. That's better. I need a little bit more. I went way too far with it. Doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter. Anyone guess what color this is all supposed to be painted? How about black? The book calls out for metallic black, which is kind of strange. But that's them trying to say it's a dark gunmetal. Because, like, if you're doing, let's say, Tamiya paints, just because I do Tamiya paints all the time. Tamiya has two gunmetals. They've got a regular gunmetal and a light gunmetal. So sometimes I'll call it dark gunmetal instead of just regular. And that's just me. But there. Now this all lines up much nicer, in spite of the fact our little plates don't sit flat anymore. But that's okay, because the plates are not that significant. I mean, they might be later on, I don't know, but the fact that they're sandwiching them in here, in between all of this stuff, yeah, while giving them a bit of gap coming off the block, it's, yeah. Okay, so that's our exhaust. Exhaust pipes are on, and they're lined up. Okay, just like that. They do line up to the ports really nicely, so that looks really nice. And that's good, good, good. Okay. Yeah, looks good. Okay, so I need K23 and L8. L number 8. I think we're going to be just about done with these two sprues when we're done with these. L8 right there, and then I need K23. K23, if this was a car, I would think this looks like a power steering pump. It could be an oil separator. Again, I'm doing a lot of guesswork on here. They keep on having me do everything with the engines upside down. So this guy is supposed to fit into this little notch right in here. Like so. Wow. Almost engineered to fit in there. Okay, so he's in, and then, oh, this is our crank pulley. Well, I guess crank pulley. I'm really guessing. Could be. Is there a fan belt even going to go on there? Maybe this is just our harmonic balancer. Anyway, that is on our crank. Okay, moving over. Now, see, I grabbed L1. I can finally put L1 on here. Goes on the top. And it's going to go in like this. Oh, you know what that is? That's a turbo. And he fits in just like that. That's part of our turbo. This thing's got turbo. Turbo diesel. I'm not going to bother gluing it here because we've got a pretty good glue going on there. And then we got a radiator. Our radiator's going on top up here, and they show it lining up. And I just realized the reason these plates don't fit, this whole time I got them upside down. This whole time. That's why these plates don't fit. How about that? Maybe if I get them the right way, they'll fit properly. And these little tabs on here, they're supposed to be my guide to how they sit. Well, how about that? See, when you get it correct, these are supposed to be sticking up like this. And I had them the other way around the whole time. And now, of course, my exhaust fits great. There's no interference at all. And this sits flat like it's supposed to. And yeah, funny how that all works. Oh well, and that's going to allow me to actually glue these up top here. And now my rad can sit down on top of them. So let's have our engine in the orientation of the picture. And this should fit in just like this. Line them up. And it just kind of sits on top of our cylinder heads. Now there's a couple of little tabs here and here for our tabs here and here. So you get those lined up on there, you know you're doing good. But it is just kind of line it up and set it down kind of thing. We want the pipes facing the same direction as our crankshaft. Or not our crank, our, you know what I mean, the bell housing. This guy here needs a little bit of adjustment. Getting it all glued in so that it all sits properly. And it's all straight and everything like that. There we go. So there's our radiator on top of the engine. Just like that, okay? And finally we need to get L12, a great big pipe assembly here. Great big tube, L12. This one I want to use a file on to keep the illusion of it being a pipe. Because a lot of times you get that, like a parting seam on these things, and you can tell it's two pieces put together in a mold, and it totally ruins the illusion of it being a pipe. There we go. Looks good. Let's go over the whole thing, the whole length. There we go. Okay, so this guy, if we're looking at the back here, he's supposed to go like this. And where does he go? They show it going somewhere up front here, but I don't know where. Is it going to the bottom of the oil pan? They don't show it. I don't think it's going to the bottom of the oil pan. It seems to go forward of the oil pan. I just don't know where. We have our, this guy goes up in there like this. Oops, I just broke my pipe off. Just broke my pipe off. We'll worry about that pipe in a minute. So they only show this thicker pipe lining up here. This one just goes underneath there and just disappears. So he sits in there like this. And then this guy, oh, this guy goes up here like this. And then what? And then what? Just goes like that onto this pipe? Or, I guess so. I guess it just kind of goes onto the side like that. They don't really show. So I guess it just attaches there. But that's weird. That would be radiator fluid going into the exhaust. So that can't be right. That's like maybe got to go to here or something. That would make more sense, as if it's attached here. Yes. Let's put that back in. There's not really a definitive marking on here that says, yep, that's definitely where it goes, but that's where I'm going to choose to put it, is right there. And then glue this side in. I'm going to glue this guy down. And I'm going to see if I can put that pipe back on the back of it here. Of course, now with the little tab that was holding it on is kind of broken off. Now he's doesn't really want to sit. Straight and flat anymore. So I kind of have to try and use a little gravity to my advantage while the glue is setting up. Okay. This guy has come off of where I want him to be, so I gotta re-glue him. Okay, that is the final step in step 13. So that's what we got going on. There's our kind of our exhaust radiator cooling system going on there with all the plumbing. I've got it going down to that little block here at the bottom. Okay, that's where I've got it lined up. There are two plates on the front there now properly in line. And there's our exhausts. And that's how it's all lined up. Okay, so that is step 13. Well, I guess it is step 12 and 13 all done. So I've gone through the book, like I said, I've gone through the book and I've gone every section that I've got that I'm going to have to put decals. I put a highlighter there so that I can know. And I went through every single color and I've written down the color. For example, MC505 is gunmetal. MC502 is silver. So going through, actually it's about time that I get going, which means our transmission assembly is going to be next time. Okay, so I need to let our engine dry, let all this glue cure and set up and have fun. You guys need to have fun just sitting there and drying. Yeah, which means the transmission is going to have to be next time. Fortunately, the transmission looks like, just looking at it here, it looks like there are less parts compared to the engine assembly. Yeah, so it probably won't take quite as long to do the transmission. But like I said, we're just gonna have to wait. This has to cure. I've got to get going. It is Christmas Eve after all, and so I've got stuff to do today. And so I want to thank you for watching. Thanks for all the support and the comments. Thank you for the feedback. And yeah, have a Merry Christmas, guys. And we'll see you all in the next one.